Barça! Barça! Barça!
Hey guys, welcome to Black United. Welcome to another video, and this is to talk about Bartomeu, about Valverde, and about how Barcelona are about to become, and more like Barcelona and Real Madrid are very close or getting into a dangerous area where they're gonna get they're gonna become Inter Milan and Milan. I am dead serious, because this is what Inter Milan and Milan did before they were dragged into mid-table mediocrity. And what happened? They started trusting in players too much. They didn't want to replace anyone because they were the best in the world. And because they're the best in the world and they've given so much to the team, you can't throw them out, because you can't aspire to renew a team and start a new project with players after a cycle ends. And we all know that this cycle of Barcelona has ended for most of these players. They need to be transitioned out of the squad, not transfer out, but they need to be transitioned out. And I mean, that's little by little. If you do things the right way, you can transition these players. They can still play a lot of minutes, but you're bringing the youngsters, and the youngsters are going to be ready and going to have a lot of experience by 22, 33 years old, and they can take the role of the team by that time when the other players can be taken out of the squad. But what are Madrid and Barcelona doing? Well, for what it seems, Bartomeu is saying that Valverde is going to continue next season. I am going to be very, very disappointed at that. Very, very frustrated, because if Valverde stays, we're gonna see these next season. We're gonna see this football, maybe even worse next season. I'm just not gonna enjoy this at all. I hope that Bartomeu said this the same way that he said this with Tata Martino, that he was gonna stay here next season, and he ended up sacking him. And I hope that after the Copa del Rey final, I hope that is to keep the players concentrate on the Copa del Rey final and don't have to worry about Valverde, so they can focus on that trophy and try to win it. And after the season ends, take out Valverde, bring in someone like Koeman, Ten Hag, Tuchel, whoever's gonna come, they can come in and do their project. But if this continues, if Valverde continues, if Zidane stays at Real Madrid, how I think it is, things are just going to go to the worst, because there are two managers that do the same thing, that put their full trust in the players and won't replace the players because they trust them completely. And it's a mistake. It's a big mistake for me, because these players are getting into an era where it's just not, you cannot trust them. Like they're not, and you cannot trust them because they're not good players, because they're getting to an age where they're just not gonna be the same as they were what they were 5-10 years ago. Obviously, because they were much more motivated, haven't won as much, they have less game time on their legs, they were a lot younger, and with all that, we have in a Milan and Inter Milan situation. With Inter, you had the Champions League. Let's put that team that won that Champions League final against Bayern Munich in 2010 season, that won the treble. And after that, those players wanted to keep going and keep going and keep going and never leave. And it became a problem for Inter, because players like, for example, Coutinho, Balotelli, players like that were young and wanted to aspire for titles couldn't do it anymore. For example, you had the likes of Julio Cesar, Maicon, Lucio, Samuel, Chibu, Zanetti, Cambiaso, Schneider, Milito, Samuel Eto'o, Pandev. Like, you had players that all of these were getting to an age. We're getting to an age where if you would have sold them, you would have gotten a lot of money for them. And it's more worrying with the likes of Milan, because Milan, like, they were doing this, but at a level that was even worse. Like, you had the likes of Zambrota, Sidor, Nesta. You had Paulo, you had Boateng, you had Antonio Cassano. I don't know. You had like Ronaldinho. This is not the Ronaldinho, like the best Ronaldinho. This was the Ronaldinho from like after he left Barcelona, where he was already like out of his prime. Like we're talking about 2010-2011 season Ronaldinho. And we're not talking about the Ronaldinho that already was starting to lose his level in the 2006-2007 season. So this is very worrying. Like, Milan kept all these players, they gave him so much, and afterwards they left. They didn't leave anything in the bank because most of them left on a free. They were 35, 36 year old. You didn't replace any of these players, and then you had no money. You started losing, and because you started losing, you start not being successful, and no one is interested in you if you're not winning. And because no one is interested in you if you're not winning, you're getting even less money, and you've been getting less money. You cannot make the team better, and you cannot make the team better, and the cycle keeps going and going and going. Milan and Inter just now have been able to recoup a little bit, and just because there's been investors willing to take the project and invest in the project, because otherwise they would have, so at a point they could get relegated. Like, they could have problems with relegation, and Real Madrid and Barcelona are getting to those points where they can get relegated. It could become a problem for them. It's very worrying that this is the case, but it is. You cannot have players like Luis Suarez, Ivan Rakitic, Busquets, Piqué, Alba. But you cannot have players like that playing until they're 35, getting even more contracts and more money and more money. We are the team that pays the most wages. We pay about what, 540 something million in wages season, and this team that pays the second most is like about Manchester United, I think, with 270 million. So we pay a lot more than every other team in world football, and it's worrying because if something goes wrong, if we don't manage to get anything for these players and offload their wages, we can fall into mid-table mediocrity, another one that happened to Barcelona. If you want to know an example of this happened before. It was the Gaspart era. It was when we had Louis van Gaal as the manager for Barcelona, and just a lot of weird things started happening because we changed president, and Gaspar came in and he started spending money on all these flashy signings, and then we had no money to sign players, and we started losing leagues and Champions Leagues, and it all went to the crap, to be honest. So this is something to put, like, just keep in consideration. Like, be careful of what you're doing. Make sure that you don't make the mistakes that you did before, because recovering from that can be very hard. And like, you can get money for Rakitic, you get money for Rakitic. You can get money for Coutinho, get money for Coutinho. You can transition Luis Suarez and Busquets out of the team. You transition them out of the team. You have the time. We've done things wrong, but we are in a position where we can still set things right and be sensational. Unlike Real Madrid, that in my opinion are having much more of a harder task, because Jovic, I think, is almost like deals, final things for the deal getting set up for Real Madrid. And okay, 60 million I think is a bargain for Duke Jovic, and that's a fantastic signing. I'll probably talk about it in a separate video. But the Hazard signing, apparently Chelsea are not willing to let him go if they don't get the transfer ban upheld. They want to spend money on Pogba and Eriksen, and one or two things are going to happen. They're not going to be able to sign those players because they're not going to be able to offload Gareth Bale, Toni Kroos, Luka Modric, Isco, Sergio Ramos, Marcelo, Courtois, like Benzema. You have so many players that are in a point where they're not, I don't think, good enough for Real Madrid, and then you can still get some money for them, or it gets to the point where you cannot get money for them because they're such in high wages, and they're just not players that are as good for what they're worth or for what Real Madrid are valuing them at, and it's a very dangerous situation. Barcelona, on the other hand, we are getting offers for Inter Milan. We can get a 15 million guarantee for Rakitic. I would have rather had 90 million last season and have Ricky Puig already 1 season on his belt and Aleñá more games under his belt this season. Alright, we can still fix it. We can get 56 million for Rakitic. We can get 80 to 110 million maybe for Coutinho. If we're lucky, we can offload to PSG. We can we can do good things, like, you know, if you tell me that you're gonna bring a manager that's gonna convince the likes of Busquets and Luis Suarez and Piqué to drop a lot of minutes, then fine. Todibo go on loan to Ajax, go on loan to a club that's gonna have a similar philosophy. They're gonna play similar to us and they're gonna guarantee you a lot of minutes, then fine. They leak Piqué on Titi, Lenglet for center positions. They can all play 50% of the games this season. There's gonna be probably injuries. There's gonna be a lot of games, a lot of games. Everyone can play a lot of games and be happy with their minutes this season. You can have Semedo start, then Sergio Roberto just rotating between midfield and the right back position, and whenever he's needed, because he's actually a really good player with a lot of energy, a good engine in it. You have Luis Suarez gonna drop a lot of minutes, and you can bring in the striker. If you bring in Griezmann, fine. Messi, Griezmann, Dembélé, then Griezmann rotates with Suarez. Griezmann plays on the left and right. Dembélé plays on the left and right. Messi goes between false 9 and the right wing. Everyone can rotate between a lot of minutes. Malcolm even could get some minutes. Frenkie de Jong, Arturo Vidal, Artur, Ricky Puig, Aleñá. Everyone gets a lot of minutes. There's even rumors of Rodri from Atletico Madrid coming in, and I'm gonna talk about the Rodri situation in another video, but could be a good signing. If you tell me that we can afford to make the signings without breaking the bank, and we offload the wages of Rakitic, of Coutinho, we offload some other players like Arda Turan, Denis Suarez, Andre Gomez, Rafinha. We offload all of those players and we can bring in Rodri, Griezmann, De Jong, and De Ligt, and we can afford all of that with De Jong already signed by Barcelona, then fine. Then we're getting to another situation which it's very favorable with another manager that can make the most of this team, and we can go back to being the glorious days of Barcelona. So with all that said, leave me your comments in the comment section below. What do you think that we need to do? Do you think that this situation with Barcelona and Real Madrid is similar to Milan and Inter? Do you think that there's nothing to worry about, or is there any particular signings that you want us to make this upcoming summer transfer window? All of that, leave it in the comment section below. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one, Blaugranas.